Good morning. It is 8:12 a.m. on Tuesday, April 22nd, 2022. I'm laughing because I had actually just started another recording and stopped it because I heard Rocket digging at something in the bedroom closet. And then when I went to investigate, he came out. But then just as I sat down here and pressed record again, he just trotted right back in there. Uh, Basically, there's a box full of like old mail that is just like the things like statements and stuff that I feel like I need to keep for a little while. And he has once or twice pulled an envelope or something out of there to chew on, and he was trying to get at it, is what's happening there. So in following up from yesterday, I definitely haven't worsened in any sort of symptoms or anything. So uh, the little bit of congestion I was feeling, a little bit of maybe fatigue, doesn't seem to have intensified in any way, and so I'm thinking maybe I dodged the bullet in terms of catching COVID, or or I am having an extremely mild case. So if that has happened, I mean I haven't tested positive, so I don't know. Anyway, I played a bit more of Tunic last night, and I got to where I was able to get the bad ending, meaning the ending that results when you haven't solved all the puzzles. A weird reflection on my glasses today. And so I was definitely closing windows. And the I don't know. I have mixed feelings about that game. Thinking about it now, just because the fact that I basically needed to turn on no fail mode on the combat, like I'm glad that the option exists because it lets me enjoy the parts of the game that I enjoy, but it also just like does there I don't want to say it's cheating because it's an option made available, and I get to play games however I want. Um, but it also just means that a significant element of the game is something that I'm not engaging with as much as well, I don't know. I think where I really started to get impatient with it was last night, where I started realizing that the density of the puzzles is high, but the further you get into that, the more and more obtuse some of them get. And I absolutely decided to concede and just look at a guide for some of them. But the thing is that some of them, like even when you look up the answer, I feel like I don't even see how you can get that answer from the clues provided in the game. It's one thing to say, oh, I never would have thought of that. It's another thing to say, I don't see how these things connect. It's another thing to say, you know, oh, you're supposed to look at this pattern on the cliff and then convert that to button presses. And it's like, okay, but when I look at it and try to do that, I don't get the answer that they say it is in some cases. And in other cases, it's like, what I should do here is not be irritated that this game's style of puzzles is just kind of not for me. This is absolutely the sort of game, kind of like Fez a few years ago, where they've got puzzles in there that are very deliberately extremely obtuse, with the perspective that the way to solve it is that people lots of people are playing and kind of working together to sort of do all sorts of weird things, and you get the people like the people in Elden Ring who just go around whacking their sword at every wall segment in the game just to find secret entrances, right? And then when someone finds a clue, they do stuff. But like I guess I get more frustrated with those sorts of puzzles that really rely on very obtuse solutions. Like I don't want to say no one could ever figure them out, because probably some people could, but I guess it's just requires a level of investment that I was not willing to give the game. And so uh using the guide, it's like, okay, well, I'll probably go ahead and do it, but at a certain point it starts feeling a little bit like you're doing a jigsaw puzzle, but each, you turn on the mode where each piece is just like magnetically attracted to the spot that it goes, and you just go, you know, zoom, zoom, and it starts feeling like, what is, you're not actually doing it anymore. You're just making, you are following instructions to see what the game does. When you do that, it feels less like you've actually accomplished anything, which is kind of the whole thing with a puzzle game, is you're supposed to feel that, oh wow, the epiphany, and that's great when you find it. And I was feeling that for a while, only to just start increasingly feel like I don't know what I'm supposed to do next. I'm stuck. And then when I look it up and I see what the answer is, it's like I never would have thought of that in 100 years. And that starts feeling like, I don't know, that's not fun to me as much. Anyway, it's a very cute game. I think that if you feel like you are in the mood for some seriously thinky puzzles like that, that have very subtle, obscure, um, you know, if you feel like you're the sort of video game player who thinks it would be really cool to translate a foreign language character, like a bunch of, like to decode a bunch of language that's in a made up script in a pretend instruction manual that you find page by page. If that sounds fun to you, by all means, Tunic is probably a great game for you. I might, in another time, be more open to that. But when I'm already feeling like I have a handful of other games that I want to get to playing, and I'm trying to just finish this one so that I can play something else, less in the mood for extremely obscure puzzles. Anyway, so I'm going to leave it there, and I will talk to you all tomorrow for 5 more minutes.